Good Monday morning, everyone. Oh, guys, okay, we've made it. We've made it through the holidays. I've got some crazy stories for you all. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Aimee, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely author guest today is Eric. So, you guys, okay, let's all take a breather. We've all made it through the holidays. Now we just got to get through the new year, okay? And that's just depending on your age level, a big drunk fest, okay? It just depends on your age level. If not, if you were in my age realm or higher, it's you. I don't even make it to midnight, you guys. I'm not even gonna lie. I go to bed. I go to bed. I wake up at midnight and maybe I'll smack Josh and be like, "Hey, happy New Year!" But I'm tired. Okay, my 5 and 6 year old, they don't make it. I don't make it. I'm going to bed. Like that's just the true nature of it. Unless Josh throws me a curveball and decides to like get together with friends currently and recover from. I have traveled to my mom's. We came back on Christmas Eve. I had to get everything ready for the kids. Then we had Christmas Day at our house. And then we took off, you guys, and went to my grandmother's house in Bossier City, Louisiana. And my kids got to meet their great grandmother. They met her once when they were very little. They didn't remember. And so they got to meet her again, which is always fantastic. I don't get to see her very often. Me and Josh decided that instead of staying in a hotel, and Russell, this is totally Josh, okay? Instead of staying in a hotel,
No, right now he was wrong. I don't even know what he's done, and he was wrong.
that instead of staying in a hotel, we would do like I don't those Airbnbs of an RV.
Oh yes, that may not be wrong.
Yes. So of an RV. And so we had planned the trip to be longer. We were going to go up to like Arkansas and then come back. But you guys know I totally complained about that because I don't like long car rides. The drive already to Bossier City was 4 hours after coming home, about a 3.5 hour trip. It was just a lot of unhappy Aimee. Okay.
It's too much.
It just was. So we stayed in an RV. It was very nice. I prefer glamping over tent camping. I've done my time tent camping. Okay, the girls can do it now, but mama needs an RV or a hotel. I need a shower. I really just need a shower and a nice bed. But it was nice. It was a different atmosphere for me. I'm not used to doing that. I am a hotel girl. I'm sorry, I am. But the kids loved it. The dogs got to come, which is always fun because they tend to be difficult for us when we travel if we can't bring them. So, it was all my stress now can go. And now I'm just going to enjoy the last like week and a half with my kids before they go back to school. And I am not running around like a chicken with its head cut off anymore, you guys. I made it through. I didn't get all of my Christmas shopping done, but we made it. Okay. That's all that matters is we have made it. So how was the holidays for all of you guys? Do you have any fancy New Year's plans? Or you like me and you go to bed, don't even make it to midnight anymore? Valerie, I feel like you make it to midnight. Like
We all know Valerie makes it to
we
midnight.
all know Valerie makes it. You're
Valerie
muted,
Bragg.
Valerie. You're muted.
Yeah, I definitely make it to midnight.
Oh,
we might have like a little nap in between because we'll usually go eat some kind of big dinner of some sort. We usually have a tradition of like eating like a giant meal of like egg rolls and all these things. It started when the kids were little, and then it just kept going and going. It was our tradition, and then of course New Year's Day is set aside for like black eyed peas and all that kind of good stuff. But Christmas was good. We're always like running here, running there, running there. But it's different when it's just like two of us, and then we have one home that's home from college, and then everybody else comes over later, and then it's crazy, but it's a good thing. We never have a bad time, and the funny part is how we always plan to go
Did
to
your mother
church.
make up that pot, the ragu?
Oh, the suga. Yeah, she totally did because the kids demanded it. They're
And
like,
was it perfect?
of course, of course.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
I know it does.
Well,
Really
maybe one day you can come over since you live here, and we can have a dinner with you, and you can have mom's meatballs and all of that. But yeah, I don't know. One of our traditions we're doing for New Year's, this is a thing because we always build gingerbread houses.
Yeah.
With the kids, it's a competition. I think I told you guys about this before. But on New Year's Day, we'll come over and we blow them up. So that's even
Nice.
more fun. Yeah.
Man, Meadow and then made a gingerbread, and then Meadow started eating it. And I don't know who she gets that from, because to me, gingerbread is gross. I can't.
Yes, awful.
Hard. You can't eat those ones that come in a box.
I'm telling you, that's what she's done. She's gross. Okay, she's 6, Eric, and she's just gross. Like,
So just eat whatever, huh?
it's gross.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
nothing
like
is
my
like so
dog.
satisfactory when you put a firecracker inside a gingerbread house and watch it like, pa-cha.
That is kind of fun. I do like that.
It's really funny. It's funny.
Demolition. Yeah.
Yeah, demolition. We have a lot of videos. Sometimes it gets scary, but we all step back. The Christmas
All
was
right.
good.
It's a fun memory. I love it. I love to hear that. Eric, what about you?
I was able to go down to Tennessee. I'm up here in Calgary. Well, I do live in Calgary, so I was able to take for the first time in 3 years, I believe, go down to see the family. My
Nice.
family of origin, my brother and sister-in-law, mom and dad. Got to spend it in a very nice, easygoing rural environment since, up in Calgary is not so rural. And it was just a really good time. My brother and sister-in-law picked me up at the airport in Nashville, and we had a really good time. Yeah, really good
Nice.
time. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I can vibe with that. I've never been to Tennessee, but just being in the South just makes
Oh,
me happy. So,
Tennessee is such a beautiful place outside of Nashville. Nashville's chaos, but Tennessee is so beautiful, and the people are very kind there.
It's really hard to find someone that doesn't want to help you out. Like I'm from
Yeah.
almost from a small town called McMinnville, so nursery capital of the world, not babies, but like shrubs and plants and trees. And so
Yes.
it's just a really down home, laid
And the
back
only trouble
atmosphere.
is after a while, you're like, please leave me alone and stop talking to me, strangers.
Right?
You want the strangers to stop talking to you. If you want to
I
talk to the
love it.
people, you wouldn't have gone to Tennessee.
Right.
Okay, that's where I need to go then. That's where
Yeah.
People
I
talk
need to be there.
to strangers talking and touching your shoulder and stuff. I feel like I'm in China.
That doesn't sound fun.
They like to do backslaps for sure. And
I
when
know,
I got
I hate it, right? And they don't know you. They're like, "Hey, buddy," or like, "Who the hell are you?"
What's your name? What's your name?
Why are you touching me? And why are you
Yeah.
so happy to see me? You don't know me.
Yeah, I just got a tattoo like several years ago. I just got a tattoo done, and I was at church, and everybody was coming up to me, just slapping my back right where the tattoo is done. So
Oh,
I had to start doing a spin move, so they wouldn't, they wouldn't slap that part. Anyway, yeah.
man, I'm never gonna say I'm living in the wrong state, but that just sounds like my kind of people.
Oh, it is.
Russell's not a team
rural-
player.
In rural Georgia is, there's people that's lived out in the countryside of rural Georgia.
Yeah.
They're, wow, great people and great tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
I
Oh
love
yeah.
that.
Okay, let me talk
Yeah.
about Christmas. I'm going to talk about one idiosyncratic thing that our family decided to do about maybe as our family has gotten older and my children are all adults and they have their family too. You're not going to be together all of Christmas and Christmas Eve. Kind
Right.
of like what Valerie just mentioned. It's not going to
Mhm.
happen. And I got to tell you, I always hated Christmas Day after you open presents and eat because it's so anticlimactic and boring. So my wife decided, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, that on Christmas Day we were going to have from the movie A Christmas Story that we watched. We were going to have Chinese turkey, which
Nice.
is pheasant, right?
Okay.
We're going to have Chinese pheasant. And living in Houston, you have one of the great Chinatowns of North America. People don't even know how great the Chinatown is here and how great the restaurants here and how authentic they are. So we found the most authentic Chinese restaurant in Chinatown. And for Christmas dinner, about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, one of the worst times I always hated that time. It's so anticlimactic.
Yeah.
Uh, the whole family, because whatever other in-law obligations your children have, they don't have them then. That's all over. We all get meet in Chinatown and have a giant, chaotic Chinese turkey, which is pheasant, right?
Nice.
And that's 77, 8 years ago. And that is one of the favorite tradition parts of Christmas now for the whole family is
Mhm.
we don't know who's going to be where on Christmas Eve. We don't know who's going to be where on Christmas morning. But everyone talks for months about the reservation at Ark, which is the serious, authentically Chinese restaurant in Chinatown, about making sure we get a big table and that everyone knows who's going to be there for
Mhm.
pheasant. And it is wild and fun. Even our 3-year-old twins use chopsticks to eat their pheasant. And it was brilliant. And it's one of the favorite parts of Christmas now. And it was just invented by my wife about
I
seven
love
years
it.
ago.
I love that.
I
That's
love
all.
it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Man, my mom, so we're at our house, right, for Christmas Day is where we do it, but we're there Christmas Eve. We drive back Christmas Eve night. But we always grew up eating Christmas dinner at like 2 in the afternoon. Because then, like
Mhm.
Russell, like you said, then like my sisters were all married at the time, so they would go off and then come back, and we would all have turkey sandwiches. But it is like the very like now that you point out, it is very unclimactic because you eat dinner and then everybody dips and then they come back and you're just like, well, let's make
Yeah,
sandwiches,
right.
And so I don't know. I
Instead, we
remember
have a
those.
huge new party
Yeah.
that's that,
Mhm.
and we're the only white people there because this is a
Right.
serious Chinese place, and it's all Asian and us,
Mhm.
and that makes it twice as much fun, right?
I
Yes.
love.
Because we're Houstonians, and that's the way we live, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
the
so
way
true.
we eat. That's the way we eat because we're Houstonians. We're international food people. So
Well,
it's
True.
just spectacular.
yeah, we started a new tradition last year because there's so many of us. It was like impossible to get a reservation at a restaurant anywhere we wanted to go. And then we like spent like a month trying to figure out who wants to go where. And like, no, we don't want to go there. We don't want to go here for Christmas Eve dinner. And we would always go like to 4 o'clock mass so we could make it to a reservation somewhere. So
Four
last year we're
o'clock
like,
mass is cool though, too, by the way. You just drop that
it's
in.
crazy. You
And
get there
yes,
so
it's
early.
crazy, but that's why it's cool
It's
also.
so fun. Yeah. And
Yes.
everybody's dressed, sparkly. But so last year we're like, this is our new tradition where we cooked it ourselves and we bought tomahawk steaks, we bought lamb chops, we bought scallops, we bought all this stuff because
Nice.
we would have spent that kind of money at a restaurant with so many
Yeah.
of us, but we got one tomahawk steak and we just like cut it and it was like our appetizer. And then we just had all these things and just
One of the
random
greatest one of the greatest parts
stuff.
of Christmas Eve for me, Valerie, would be to stand next to the person cooking the tomahawk steak because
Yes,
of the
yes.
oh my gosh, that would be so fun.
And
You're,
it was great. And we're like, okay, here off the grill. Here's this. Here's that. And it was like, okay, that was more fun than going to a restaurant. And you know, it was fine. It
Nice.
was fine. But
I
I
like
everybody
love
got
that.
you get to taste everything.
That's fun. I love that. We play games on Christmas Eve. Like the kids get to
Oh,
play their games and like kind of compete
mm-hmm.
and win prizes, and then the adults get to play. And my mom this year, I don't know. So you guys know I'm married to like Josh. Okay, so I have a Costco membership. Like it's just a given. Eric, my husband is a first generation Indian. Okay, so it's given that I have a Costco membership.
Okay,
Okay, it's just a
wait,
got,
given.
that's
got,
just
got,
not
gotcha.
that's not completely fair, which is
It's
typical of a wife not to completely fair in
it's
her
fair.
description of her
It's
husband.
fair.
He Number one is he is a grown up. This guy is a grown up. He thinks like a grown up. He's an engineer. He is
Yes.
constantly thinking about investment and the proper use of their money and
So
when they
Costco.
need to. and so that's why it's Costco. So
He's
this
such a
guy, and he's very outdoorsy. This is guy, but he's also someone that's been completely emasculated by his wife because she
That's not
sold
true at
his
all.
motorcycles and bought an SUV for her from it. So
Okay.
don't
Oh,
think that she's not a vicious woman
That's
to him.
not true either. He had two motorcycles. He chose to sell one and then the
Yeah, he
other.
chose it
That's
after he was sleeping on
I'm
the
not
couch for a
we're not
month.
even getting, and this was years ago, Russell. I've had my car for like 3 years. It's been the same
I
conversation.
know. It's
Anyways,
at limit
so
and it won't even work all
obviously
the
I have a
time.
Costco membership, you guys. Obviously. Okay. And they had Plunko from God, what was it, Valerie? The Price is Right. They have the little Plunko
Yeah,
thing.
Plinko.
Yeah,
Plinko.
exactly. Okay, so they had the miniature one. So my mom was like, Aimee, my mom doesn't have a Costco membership. She lives through me and I have to get her all this stuff and bring it to her. So I bought it because she wanted it for our Christmas Eve. We play a
What's
bunch
a
of games and
Plinko?
stuff. It's you have the little disc from the Price is Right and you drop it and it like zigzags down and
yeah.
it tells you how much money you win, right? Anyway, so instead we had all these different like games or like gifts and stuff. So you can win money, you can win like one of those nice Starbucks cups, like all these different things. You don't know what you win. And so those are always like super fun. We started playing those when we all like got married and got off. But we used to open a video like VHS back in the day, okay, a VHS and matching pajamas, watch that, and then we would all put our pajamas on and go look at Christmas lights. And so at some point I get to do that with my kids at some point, but we're still going home and visiting because they're little with all their nieces and nephews or their cousins, my nieces and nephews. But Russell, it's your time to shine.
Yes, thank you. We want to thank you for listening to us. Eric, most people don't watch us on Mondays, but they listen to us during the week on our podcast. We're top 1% on good pods and top 10% on some of the others. And we're very humble and very grateful to our listeners for listening to us. When we first started doing podcasts, and we've been on the air for 10 years, but just a couple of years ago, we started doing it in the podcast channels. And I never could find us, but I'm pretty low tech. Then Aimee did some whatever Aimee does, and even I can find us now, and you can find us. Aimee, where can people find us?
And that is the truth. Russell can find us. I no longer get harassed, you guys. It's a great, I'm most grateful for that. But no, you can find us anywhere that you can search for a podcast. So my go-to is Amazon Music and Spotify. I'm an Android user, so Google Play. If you are an Apple user, iTunes. But if you are like me, I actually enjoy like seeing the people that I'm listening to. I'm weird like that, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I enjoy
the
doing that.
money pit's behind me now.
It's true. Russell's no longer homeless, you guys. So you can go over to our YouTube channel, our Facebook group, any one of our social media channels, and you can actually see us and see me and Valerie are animated, or when Valerie freezes and Russell makes fun of her. Those are pretty epic too. So you can come on over to those and engage with us live in time. Comment. We love to engage, answer your questions, put them up on the screen, and just have kind of a fun, open conversation. So come on over to those if you want to see us. If you are like me, I don't know, I'm visual. But yes, Russell, man, can you believe next week will be 11 years, 10 years? It'll be 10 years.
10.
Yes, and the average podcast lasts 6 weeks.
I know. Look
What?
at that, guys.
Really?
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, I love it. But remember, we were just talking about how Russell, okay, Eric, Russell really loves to do this conversation. So I'm going to beat him to it because I know that it's coming. So
Okay.
he loves to
How
say,
bad you sucked when we started.
I know. Anyways, so Russell, we used to like pre-record these, right? And I would go down and Sandy at the time, we would go down to where Russell was staying and we would pre-record these. And I was the camera person, okay?
Okay.
And
so,
very shy, Eric.
I
She was
was
way
not
shy.
I can't
I was
imagine.
not-
Never shy, Aimee.
I
I
can't
was
imagine.
not
Never.
shy. I just was the camera person. I wasn't invited to do it, okay? I was the person that was going to hold it, and they were going to facilitate. I was going to make sure it sounded and looked okay, and that we would go on. But then when they would start saying things that I would have a comment for, I was in control of that. I could flip the camera around to me and then flip it off of me. right? And then we started going on Zoom, going live, and we, could have all these conversations. And now it's evolved into what it's evolved into. But Russell likes to point out that I was shy and wouldn't be on camera, but I
Do
was
you
the
not describe
cameraman.
yourself as shy
I am.
back then? Back then.
I mean, okay, so to be fair, I had only known Russell for like a year at the time when this whole thing has started. So with Russell, yes. But if you meet me in person, I'm just an awkward person unless you like really get to know me.
She's pretty awkward.
And like online, like how I am here online when I go out with Russell and Valerie, it's very much just how I am because I know them. But if you're meeting me for the first time in person, I am extremely awkward. Like I'm awkward, and I'll say things that kind of just make you uncomfortable to see if you can handle it because I'm just weird. I'm weird like that. So it's just a whole thing. Okay, I'm just my own vibe, and I go with it. That's just how it all works in our favor. But you can witness that if you come over to our YouTube channels and you can see it because it comes out every now and then, my awkward and weirdness. But
like right now.
I mean, that's true. Yeah. Whatever. This is a daily thing. It's a daily thing, you guys. But I am the most interested. I'm just going to bypass over Russell. I'm the most interested about getting Eric talking about his book and his journey to becoming a published author and how it all started. So I'm gonna let Valerie and Russell take it away.
Oh my gosh. Eric, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because now somebody know Aimee's whole life story. We'd like to hear a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, Aimee mentioned Arkansas a little bit a while ago. I was born in Arkansas, raised in Tennessee, now live up here in lovely Calgary, Alberta. You might be able to see some of the snow with that school bus that's going by.
Yes.
Yeah, so I've been up in Calgary for over 11 years, but my wife and I, we got married in Tennessee. We lived in Mississippi for around 10 months in Corinth, and then we moved to New Zealand for 15 months. Loved it there. Lovely area. I love the kiwis. There's 3 kiwis. There's like the birds, there's the people, and then there's the fruit, and all of them are great. You can only eat one of those though. And, after the 15 months, we legally had to leave the country, and we came to Calgary and been here ever since. And I didn't start writing when I got right to Calgary. That came several years later. And you talked about your husband being an outdoorsy person, Aimee, and I enjoy hiking. I enjoy bicycling in the local parks, going hiking. Had to go off a trail a few months ago because there was a bear on the trail. Probably heard a growl.
I've been chased by a bear twice.
Twice.
It's a crazy feeling, isn't it?
Well, I didn't get to that part of getting chased. But yes,
Scary.
It was scary just to have that feeling of I hear that, and I know the bear's over there. Yeah, totally. It's really visceral, and so I enjoy the outdoors. That's a little bit about myself. Yeah.
And how did you evolve into writing? Because you said it took you a couple years before you dove in. What prompted you, or had you just had it in the back of your mind?
I did a lot of screenwriting before I started actually writing books. And so I would do co-writing with people down in the States. 2 co-writers, one in Michigan, one in Mississippi. Funny enough, that guy in Mississippi is actually from New Zealand. He actually was one of the orcs in Return of the King and Lord of the Rings. So it's always cool to hear that story.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, so screenplay writing. And then I was like, well, what about other mediums? I've always had this topic. Well, I've always been interested in martial arts. And then my first book it has a martial arts theme. And that took about 14 months to write that book. And so I just thought about, well, what's another medium? I'll give it a shot. And there was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of hesitancy. How is this going to go? Is anybody going to read it? And went through that journey inside my head too.
And then you said you have one book prior to this one?
Yeah, it's called The Martial Art of Recovery. So it's martial art techniques intersected with concepts for mental health healing. So primarily for addiction recovery. So
it sounds beautiful. Yeah. I think that's probably a pretty good book, Eric.
Yeah. Thank you. I bring in personal experiences and also just some different concepts and techniques from martial arts and translate that over to help people out.
And so tell us about your new book and the title and everything. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so the book's called Buried Alive: 4 Ways to Free Yourself from the Dirt. So it's part true story, part like self-help concepts. So my dad was accidentally buried alive back in February of 2000 in Tennessee.
Wow.
So he was digging for Native American artifacts, otherwise known as arrowheads. And he was in a hole probably 8 or 9 feet. Little dirt came on
Wow.
him from the top. Him and his friend Jason, they kind of snickered like, haha. And then a few seconds later, that dirt just whoosh, just avalanche really quickly. Um, a big rock actually came down on top of the dirt after being caved in. So thank goodness for a third friend, Jerry, that didn't mean to go that particular day, but thank goodness, because if not for him, they could not have gotten that rock off in time to save him.
Yes.
So that I did a documentary, and in the book it's transcribed pretty much word for word, some alterations, and I go through their story. And it was a little difficult because they have a thick Southern accent, so I had to really I had to really listen and rewind and listen, and then I incorporate some different concepts for mental health support that are applied to what happened that fateful day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Wow, I love that. I love that you took this experience and then so the self-help part, it's just I like that you're, connecting this to real life as well. Can you explain a little bit about that, the breakdown of the book?
Yeah, sure. So I go into different types of balance. So balance between like not having, not being around people that are totally like toxic positivity, but not also being around people that are toxically negative. And the same thing for myself inside.
Mhm.
Just different balances between like emotions, comparisons, planning and spontaneity, just different things there. The importance of social connection that we're talking about, even as we talk about Christmas, you know.
Mhm.
And then I go into what's called the CIA, which is just a concept for like curiosity, introspection, and agency as far as to get the best out of my life. And the last one, I mean, it's called the W concept. I haven't really talked about it on any podcast and like given the mysterious word and what it is. I mean, if you read the book, you'll figure out what it is. But it's looking at a word in a different light to help people be more productive for themselves, and it starts with the W. So I'll keep you guys in
Mhm.
suspense.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So how did you evolve into this area of self-help after this incident? Was it just because the connection of like, hey, you know what? You might have been buried in dirt now, but now, hey, if he can survive and then we can survive, and then just that mentality, is that what you're connecting with?
Absolutely. I'm a therapist as far as the work that I do, and so
Mm,
I've seen a lot of people unearth themselves, and whether it's guilt, shame, remorse, anything like that, and
mhm,
just being able to help support people. So from a professional angle, for sure, but
mhm.
just personal experiences when it comes to grief, I can relate to that as well, as far as being able to move through the process of grief, loss. So
Do you use a lot of personal experience stories in the as well, like examples, or do you just guide them through the process?
there are some personal experience stories in both books. And
Hmm.
so I want to bring in something personal that makes sense to me and that's applicable to me. And also there's the concepts and techniques and stuff like that.
Hmm. Can you share one of the personal experiences that is in the book?
So my wife and we went through a miscarriage a few years ago. It was a disenfranchised loss, and it was a silent miscarriage, and it was brutal. And that part is talked about in the epilogue, and that's one thing I definitely had to excavate myself out of. I mean, not being stuck there. I mean, they say that grief is like trying to make sense out of something that doesn't make sense. And when it came to that experience, I still had these feelings that feel buried alive for sure. They come
Hmm.
back and forth, yet I've learned to grow, around the grief and be able to, reintegrate that experience and what the meaning is behind that. That didn't happen at the beginning. That was quite a few years ago now. I think it was three
Hmm.
plus years ago. So that's one experience that I do bring up, and it's written in a way as a letter to that unborn child.
Hmm. Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah,
Russell, did you
that's
have a
one.
question?
Yes. Did your father and his friend listened to you when you gave them these therapy suggestions? Number two, do you, in your book, do you discuss how to get people to listen uh, about your suggestions on what they can do on recovery?
For the first question, no. He's a medical doctor. It's hard to really get him to do anything.
Oh,
Okay, that's such a good, honest answer and so transparent. Thank you, Eric.
You're welcome. You're
Do
welcome.
you discuss in your book how you tried, or do you help the reader figure out how to get someone to listen to them about what you suggest?
I do my best to make things as simple as possible. And so I do give some suggestions in each chapter for how to incorporate those different parts, like how to be more curious, how to be more introspective, how to take agency more. And so there are some pieces for each chapter. My dad actually read the book, and I was really hesitant and anxious about like what's he going to think. But I got a good report. He signed it for me, gave me a nice little paragraph in it. It was nice. So,
nice, nice.
yeah.
I guess like can you guide us through like the first section you were discussing? Just why did you decide to break it down like this, finding balance?
It's always something that's been important to me personally, and
Mhm.
it's especially when I was doing martial arts, there has to be some type of balance. Don't want to be too far away when I'm trying to do a technique, but you don't want to be too close to someone as well because you might hit them accidentally. So balance is indeed important. And there had to be some type of balance, even in the incident that happened. Like
Mhm.
Jason was actually buried up to his knees in the dirt, and so Jerry had to come down from a hill, take care of Jason, and then they both had to unearth my dad after taking the rock off. And then they rested, so that it's kind of a balance between being and doing, where they were doing a lot. And then
Mhm.
they just had to sit there. Like my dad still had dirt in all the orifices you can imagine. But just take it easy, take a
Yes,
rest.
yes.
So that's why I start with
Mhm.
balance, because it's such an important part of life for all of
Mhm.
us.
And how do you walk the reader through finding that?
The first chapter of balance is broken down into different sections, like the planning and spontaneity, like not trying to find a balance between these different ones. Even with being able to express emotions, you don't want to be like just vomiting out emotions, but you don't want to be like totally closed off either. So I
Yes.
go through first what the extremes could be, and then I talk about the different extremes, and then go into how could we start to cultivate the middle ground. If you just do one part of what's asked, that could be beneficial.
I like that. I
Yeah.
like that because I think it's hard for people to, do that. They see things so like one-sided sometimes because you're so deep in the situation, and then just pulling yourself like to like it's almost like coming out of the box and then looking inside at yourself. Do you feel like that's kind of what's happening?
Yeah, it's being able to take off the blinders, pull back, see things, see the forest for
Hmm.
the trees,
Hmm.
and it's just being able to see things more objectively and like, okay, yeah, this is something I can work on. It's in the book. This is an objective, practical way to do something. All right.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, I totally agree. A couple of years ago, my son was carjacked at gunpoint, and it was, and the thing is, you saw like the situation, but then when you came out of the box and you're like, okay, this is what didn't happen, and the positivity, and just going from there, and
Mm.
just finding the balance with that, just that it was everything was turned out okay, but in the minute, and that's what I feel like probably people reading this too, in the minute, everything is overwhelming, and then you have to like come back and see where you are in the present. Do you feel like that's possible?
Oh, absolutely. And even like with the carjack experience, my mother-in-law was carjacked at knife point, allegedly. She never saw the knife. She didn't want to find out whether he had the knife. So it's
Hmm.
interesting that similarity that you brought up, Valerie. So
Yes.
yes, I do feel like even with trauma, you can there is an opportunity for folks to find that healing where they might be deep in it initially with a lot of images and thoughts and sensations, sure. And
Hmm.
no one needs to judge someone for that. Yet
Hmm.
the hope is that with time and with interventions, hopefully, and just having supportive people around them, they can come to a place of balance again.
Exactly. Exactly. And then the next chapter, you said the CIA acronym. Can you discuss that a little bit more, please?
Yeah, so the C being like a curiosity pirate, or being,
Okay, I like that.
being able to look at ways to be curious in my life, curious about what I'm feeling, curious about other people. Like I was curious this morning about the different Christmas experiences, and I just being able to listen, really.
Yes.
And then introspection, so being able to look inside myself, reflecting on what's
Mhm,
going on in my life, and then
mhm,
taking agency. With clarity comes the courage to take agency, and agency is being able to take action, not just trying to think
mhm.
about doing something better, but actually acting in order to have something better for me.
How do you guide the reader through those three things?
Well, there's different suggestions, and I like to bring those at the end of the chapter for folks. I'd have to open up the book to give you like a concrete suggestion for each one. I bring things in that are practical and that are simple and that people can relate to, and things that are can be easily be done. Not something that's complex. And so that's what I like to bring in for each of those three.
Do you have like a workbook type thing that they can take notes or to guide themselves? How do you know, something like that?
The first book I did could have very well been two different books because the next to last chapter, I should say,
Gotcha.
um, it has like a how-to for sure for
Mhm,
like all 66 different techniques. So
gotcha.
for this second book, I don't necessarily have a workbook or like a specific chapter for how to. The closest thing is me giving around three different examples in the last
Okay,
chapter on how to
gotcha.
integrate all the different parts of the four chapters into these experiences that I bring up that are like
Mhm,
possible real life experiences, so people can
gotcha.
see practically how the curiosity and being socially connected and
Mhm,
the
mhm.
importance of this W concept. And it's a four-letter word. But anyway, the importance of balance, all those different things in these
Yeah,
different
we had a guest
practicals.
say one of those yesterday.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah?
Can I ask a couple of questions, Valerie?
Please, yes, go ahead.
Okay, you mentioned your hiking and climbing. Do you write about that in your book and how that can be used as therapy?
Yes. Yeah, I do talk about hiking. I talk about
Mm.
this one story. I was up, I don't know if you guys have ever been up to Jasper, like Jasper, Alberta. It's a lovely place. Unfortunately, there was some fires there
Oh,
about a year or two ago. And yeah, I was there before the fires. It might be sad to be there now anyway. Uh,
yeah.
I was up there hiking, and I talk about this example where it was complete, utter silence. And it can be so deafening at first. And that's the part that I enjoy about the outdoors is like the absence of
Mhm,
sound. No
mhm,
leaf.
mhm.
There wasn't even leaves rustling. There was no wind. It was amazing. So I do talk about that experience in the book and just the importance of stillness and being able to be appreciative and being okay with silence can be hard for
Mhm,
us.
mhm.
And it's something I've had to work on. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Eric, what are you proudest about your book?
Mhm.
I believe getting my dad's kind of certificate of that was okay. That was good.
Okay, that
Yeah.
is transparent again. Thank you. You have
Mhm.
been shockingly transparent on those two answers. So thank you. Okay, I have a question for you. In
I've had
dark romance, fans of the authors and books actually tattoo quotes from books. I know, Valerie, actually tattoo quotes from books on their skin. So,
Mhm.
if what would a fan of your book tattoo on their body? What
hmm.
quote?
Hmm.
I love this question. This is something new this month for me, and I just love it. It's so weird, and so nobody gets asked questions like this. How many podcasts have you been on so far? You've
I've,
never been asked this.
nope, I have never been asked what someone
Okay.
would ink on their skin from a
So,
quote.
what would someone ink on their skin from your book? What quote?
Oh, I'm having a hard time thinking of an exact
Yeah,
sentence.
I couldn't answer
Yeah.
it either, by the
Well,
way. But the
it doesn't.
last two authors we asked could. But I
It
couldn't.
doesn't have to be a direct sense. So look, I'll give you an example.
Oh,
So
don't give him an
I'm
out.
gonna give him an
Don't give
example.
him an out.
And it's not an out, it's an example. Anyways, so in Dark Romance, right, there's this Lord series, and one of them is You Vow, I Vow, We Vow, and another one is One Little Mouse, right? So it doesn't have to be a sentence. Like he's thinking a sentence, Russell. It doesn't have to be a sentence, but it's like
A phrase.
a phrase that like your book would like stick out amongst the others, right? That's like commonly said or like a common theme kind of throughout.
Okay, that was a
Russ-
really good contribution, Aimee.
Yeah, Russell cheated you there. It wasn't fair.
I cheat all the time. I can tell you, Eric, I am a hardcore cheater. I was a divorce lawyer for 40 years.
Oh,
That's
bless you.
was my job. So, what's your answer, Eric?
Objection.
Thanks.
Objection. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't answer it either.
I would say resilience.
Okay,
Resilience triumphs.
we're not okay.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm not
resilience
going to
I love
hold
that.
you.
That's great.
I love that though. Resilience, triumph, and hope. Like I think that's like realistically, if someone's gonna get something tattooed on them, that makes a lot of sense more than you vow,
Yes.
we vow, I vow. You know, I'm
I
just
don't
saying.
understand why anyone gets something tattooed on him. Though
I
Eric
mean,
said
I
he
agree.
did.
But that's the perfect example of his title, even like, keep going, get out of the dirt. Get out of the dirt.
There you go. Get out of the dirt.
Oh,
No,
Yes.
that's a good
yeah.
one too.
There
I
you
like
go.
it.
Yeah.
Don't be buried.
Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Don't be buried.
Actually, Valerie, you're very creative. I think
That's a
you're
good
Eric.
one.
Next time someone asks you that on a podcast, which they never will, get out of the dirt is the one you should
I love it.
use. Okay, what are you reading right now, Eric? What book are you reading right now?
I just finished a book. I'm not reading anything. Well, I might consider getting this book picked up again, but Addiction by Design, pretty thick book. But it's if you want to know about slot machines and the history of that, yeah, it's good. I just
Okay,
finished.
that's interesting that you're reading a book
Yeah.
about slot machines.
Nice.
I like that.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. I just finished a book called The Man Who Could Do No Wrong, and it was about a pastor in Colorado who got involved in a Ponzi scheme, and I mean, it's just a horrible situation. Anyway, it was an
Sounds
interesting
like an
book.
interesting book. I think
Oh,
I
yeah.
like that.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Did
there's
he go to
still
jail?
close. He had to pay. He had 5 years probation and had to pay. Now this is back in like late 70s, like $12,500. So he got off relatively easy, but he actually got indicted by the grand jury, and
Excellent.
he went all the way to like to trial. So interesting. It was interesting.
All the way. That's what I always did. I went all the way.
You went all the way,
To
right? Did you win a lot of cases?
I wouldn't even describe the ones that I lost. So I would just lie and say, yeah, I won all of them. Anyone who says that either is lying to you or they were so afraid of trial that anything that was even close, they would settle and give in on, which I always counted on my opponent to give in before they got to trial because I always assumed that they were afraid.
Mhm.
Yeah, like the bulldog guys. Like
I would be
Yeah.
afraid. Yeah, I would.
I would.
Right?
Like,
Yeah.
A
Almost
younger.
all lawyers are afraid to try cases. That's a maxim.
Mhm.
So
Well,
if you're not, you have an advantage over your opponent.
Nice.
Mhm.
Well, Eric, how can people find or get a copy of your book?
Amazon.com.ca. Yeah, just type in Buried Alive 4 ways and it'll come up. I do have an audiobook version. I'll have to send the link to you guys, but it's on what's called the Hero app, and I get all the proceeds from the audiobook that an AI text and voice is narrating. So
Nice.
yeah.
I think you have a very nice voice. I feel like I thought you were gonna say you narrated it. I was like, that would be great. That would be great.
I considered it, Valerie. I just don't have the patience or the time or
Yes.
yeah, I considered it though.
I get it. I understand 100%. Well, Eric, we want to thank you for taking time out of your morning to come and hang out and chat with us and tell you about your book and just have a good, fun, joking conversation. So thanks for hanging out with us this morning.
Yes.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, the holidays are over. We hope that you have a fun and safe New Year's Eve, but we'll catch you guys all in the new year. Until then, have a great Monday and the rest of your week. Bye for now, everybody.